with our program festivities here in a minute. To start off, I would like to introduce. I'm going to have your attention, please. At this time, I'd like to introduce the 41st President of the IHSBCA from Charlestown High School, our President, Ricky Romans.
Thank you, Jeff. It's an honor to be the President of the Indiana High School Baseball Coaches Association. On behalf of the IHSBCA and the Executive Council, I would like to welcome you to tonight's festivities and the 40th Annual IHSBCA Hall of Fame Banquet. I would like to thank all of the coaches, past and present, that have worked long hours to make events like this happen. Without the volunteer efforts of so many people, the Hall of Fame Banquet, our North-South All-Star Series, and other functions would not exist. I would like to invite all coaches to get involved and make their voice heard in the association. It truly is an opportunity to meet and work with great people and develop new friendships. Before we get started, I would like to recognize two special guests. As they say, he is a good guy tonight, but maybe not so good in April and May. IHSAA umpire, Mr. James Robinson. We would also like to recognize Mark Flickinger of Jocelyn's, who provides the rings for each of our coaches of the year. Special thanks are also in order to Jeff Luzader for broadcasting a press conference earlier today and doing tonight's banquet. You can view the Hall of Fame inductee press conference and banquet on YouTube and click on IHSBCA. Finally, a thank you to Steve Crawl of IndianaRBI.com, who does a tremendous job of covering Indiana baseball. Now, if you would, please welcome our Executive Assistant of the IHSBCA from North Central High School, Mr. Phil McIntyre.
Thank you, and welcome everyone. What an exciting evening this is. We have a lot of celebrations tonight, and our first celebration is going to be our Victory Club. So if everybody would please look over here. President Ricky Romans, Scott Hughes, and Shane Edwards will hand out certificates and buttons to the recipients for their accomplishments to being in the Victory Club. Looking at our program on page 3, you'll see our 2017 Victory Club Award winners. Here is who is in attendance for tonight. At 200 wins, Coach John Humer, 13 years, Mishawaka High School. Coach Scott Hughes, 16 years, Shelbyville High School. And Coach Nick Tremaine, 12 years, Lawrenceburg High School. At 300 wins, Coach Mike Harmon, 18 years, Bishop Chitara. And Coach Steve Stutzman, Elkhart Central High School. .400 wins. Coach Brian Kuster, 21 years, South Spencer High School. .600 wins. Coach Dave Bishop, 33 years, New Haven High School. .700 wins. Coach Brian Dudley, 34 years, Wapahani High School. at 800 wins, Coach Mike Frame, 34 years, Huntington University. Let's give one more round of applause for all these coaches and their special victory clubs. Now at this time, thank you, gentlemen. We're going to announce our 2017 District Coaches of the Year. In District A, Coach, and hold your applause to the end for these gentlemen, Coach John Wogner from Highland High School. District C, Greg Dacus, Penn High School. District C as well, John Gump, South Bend St. Joe High School. District D, Tim Murdoch, DeKalb High School. District E, Tony Ugan, Blackbird High School. As well in District E, Ryan Berryman, Western High School. District F, Brian Dudley, Wapahani High School. District G, Nick Tremaine, Lawrenceburg High School. District I, Eric Heisner, Whitco High School. District K, Matt Cherry, Fishers High School. District L, Dave Scott, Cardinal Ritter High School. District M, Jeff Callahan, Bedford North Lawrence High School. District N, Zach Payne, Lanesville High School. And District P, Mike Getty, Evansville Central High School. This is our 2017 District Coaches of the Year. Please give me a hand. Congratulations, gentlemen. Go to your seats. At this time, I'd like to introduce our Executive Director, Mr. Brian Abbott, to present the IHSBCA Johnson Coach of the Year Award.
Thanks, Phil. Mark Flickinger of Johnston's is going to help us. They do a nice job sponsoring our award. They provide the rings for the Coach of the Year. We also give them a plaque. And it's a very nice honor to be named Coach of the Year, which probably means you won the state championship. So it's a very good honor to receive that. Our first candidate is Class 1A Coach of the Year, Zach Payne of Lanesville High School. After finishing runner-up in 2016, third-year head coach Zach Payne brought his squad back to victory field and defeated the Rossville Hornets by a score of 5-1. The 8th-ranked Lanesville Eagles won the first state championship in the school in any sport and finished with a 20-6 record while ending the season with a 12-game winning streak. Coach Payne would like to thank his assistant coaches, Josh Smith, Kyle Irwin, Jim Smith, Christian Inslee, and Garrett Sherrill, and the players for all their hard work this season. His parents, Pat and Kim Payne, his athletic director, Mark Lambertus. Most importantly, he wants to recognize his wife Cassidy for her support and allowing him to spend countless hours away from home. Ladies and gentlemen, Zach Payne of Lanesville High School. Class 2A Coach of the Year is Dave Scott of Cardinal River High School in Indianapolis. The Raiders of Cardinal River defeated the Raiders of Wapahani 10-4 to earn the first state title in baseball. Head coach Dave Scott in his 11th season as head coach, and his squad went 28-3 and has set a school record for wins. Coach Scott accepts this award on behalf of the state championship team as well as the past Ruger teams that laid the foundation for this honor. He would also like to thank his coaching staff, Mike DeChant, Fred Sheets, Scott Leverance, Greg Goff, and his father, Dave Scott Sr. The Cardinal River administration, Joe Hoy, and Jim Martin, who gave him the opportunity to be part of River High School. And most importantly, I'd like to thank his wife, Sarah, for supporting him through the long days and nights away from home, and his two boys, David and Drew, for being great kids, not being too hard on Mommy when he was gone, and coming to all the games and rooting for the Raiders. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Scott of Cardinal River High School. Class 3A Coach of the Year, John Gump of South Bend St. Joe High School. Coach Gump is in his 10th season as the leader of the St. Joe baseball program, and this year's team finished 25-4 to win its first state championship. The Indians defeated the Jasper Wildcats in their initial visit to Indianapolis and won the first state title for the South Bend since Clay High School won it in 1970. Coach would like to thank his principal, Susan Richter, athletic director Debbie Brown, and especially the coaches at all levels of the program. We had an exceptional group with great chemistry and senior leadership. In addition, he would like to thank his wife Deanna and the two kids for their support. He accepts this award on behalf of his coaches and his team. Ladies and gentlemen, John Gump of South Bend St. Joe High School. Class 4A Coach of the Year, Ed Frigie of Cathedral High School in Indianapolis. The Irish became the fourth team in state history to secure a state championship and also go undefeated. Coach Frigie led his squad to a 29-0 record in his first year as head coach and defeated the Penn Kingsmen 4-3 in an extra inning victory to win the school's third state title. Coach Frigie and Cathedral for baseball are honored to receive this recognition. And Ed would like to recognize and personally thank his wife Jody, the IHSBCA and the IHSAA, the coaching staff and their wives, Brad Pearson, Jeremy and Holly Sensabaugh, Austin and Brittany Green, Keith and Kelsey Yost, and Will Hunker. The athletic department, Doug Seagrave, Terry Fox, and Marty McWigan. The strength and conditioning coach, Cody Johnson, athletic trainer Mike Hunker, and the Cathedral administration, President Bob Bridges and Dave Warland, along with the support from the faculty and staff. Ed is also thankful to have the opportunity to work with two Hall of Fame coaches at Cathedral, in Linda Bamrick and Rich Andrew. It takes a special group of young men and committed families, and we'd like to recognize and thank all the student athletes in the program, especially the seniors and the varsity roster for all their hard work and dedication for competing at such a high level. We'd also like to thank all the families for their support and all the parent volunteers throughout the season, and a special thank you to Chrissy Green. Ladies and gentlemen, Ed Frigie of Cathedral High School. One final round of applause for all four of our coaches. Now I'd like to bring back Mr. Phil McIntyre.
Thank you, Brian. Well, this is my favorite time of the banquet because now we get to introduce our new Hall of Fame candidates, but before we can do that, we need to recognize the ones that are here tonight that are already in our Hall of Fame. If you could please refer to your program on pages 6 and 7. I am going to introduce all past Hall of Famers and their spouses if they're in attendance tonight, and ask you to please stand when I call your name and remain standing until we are done. I also want to apologize in advance if I forget anyone, and at the end I'll ask if I forgot anyone, and please stand as well. At this time, where our Hall of Famers, please stand up. Starting first, in the class of 2017, Coach Chip Sweet, Shakamak High School, has 1 state title and 2 state finalists. Hold your applause to the end, please. Coach Greg Marchand, Lewis Cass High School, 550 wins and a state finalist. Class of 2016, Coach Brian Kuster, still active, South Spencer High School, 4 state championships. Coach Greer Werner, Bloomington South High School. The Hall of Fame class of 2015, Coach Bob Schenken, Munster High School, 600 plus wins and a state championship. 2015 retired Coach Phil Webster, Decatur Central High School, 600 plus wins and a state championship. And retired Coach Chip O'Neill and wife Linda, South Bend Clay High School, 500 plus wins. The class of 2014, Coach Dave Bischoff, New Haven High School, 500 plus wins and 3 Final Fours. Retired Coach Gary DeHaven and wife Carol from Benton Central High School, 600 wins. Class of 2013, Coach Jack Campbell, Chesterton High School, 600 wins and counting. Class of 2012, Coach Tim Bourdonnais, Lafayette Central Catholic, 7 state championships. Coach Ty Callaway and wife Dallas, Western High School, 600 plus wins in a state championship. The class of 2011, Coach Greg Dykes, Penn High School, 500 wins and 3 state championships. Moving to the class of 2009, Mr. Max Schumacher, Indianapolis, owner of the Indianapolis Indians, and also our wonderful site of our state finals, Victory Field. 2009, Coach Mike Frame, Huntington University, over 600 wins. 2009, Coach Brian Dudley, Wapani High School, 600 plus wins, now 700 in the state championship. The class of 2008, Coach Dave Gandolf, Center Grove and Scecina High School, over 700 wins. The class of 2007, Coach Terry Gobert, Jasper High School, 5 state championships and 600 wins. 2007, Dyer Miller, New Point, Decatur County, over 30 years of professional baseball and being a coach of a player. Retired Coach Joe Rademacher, Bar Reeve High School, 400 wins and a state finalist. The class of 2006, Coach Dave Bisher, Andrean High School, over 700 wins and a state championship. Moving to the class of 2004, retired Coach George Ferris, Taylor and Kokomo High School, over 600 wins, and he's now assisting at Indiana Weston. The class of 2003, retired Coach Jim Hughes and his wife, Mary Lou, Franklin County, 500 plus wins. The class of 2002, retired Coach John Wirtz, Indianapolis Roncalli, over 600 wins and a state finalist. Moving to the class of 2000, retired Coach Dennis Katz, Noblesville High School, over 400 wins. The class of 1998, Coach Jake Burton, McCutcheon High School, over 700 wins and a state championship. Moving to the class of 1996, retired Coach Gary O'Neill, Madison High School, 600 plus wins and a state championship. Moving to the class of 1994, retired Coach Tim Nante and wife Joyce and daughter, where is he?
24 years ago, the first guy, there were 5 of us inducted. The first guy thought the banquet was for him. Anyway, by the time they got to me, everybody was sitting cross-legged, ready to go back. I inadvertently forgot to introduce my kids.
Very good. Thank you, Coach. Princeton High School, 400 plus wins and a state finalist. Moving to the class of 1993, Retired high school coach and college umpire, Larry Sigler, Jeffersonville High School. Hey, strike one, strike two, strike three, you're out. Class of 1992. Retired coach Dick Seiler, Elkhart Memorial, 500 plus wins, and now assisting at Bethel College. Retired coach Don Sherman, Huntington. Retired coach from Huntington North, 600 wins, and on an organized committee of the IHSBCA in 1971 on the original one. Class of 1990, retired coach Ray Howard, Jasper High School, 300 plus wins, and he's still assisting Jasper, and he's also our executive director of the Indiana Baseball Hall of Fame. Class of 1988, retired coach Don Jennings and wife Luann, Terre Haute North, 300 plus wins and a state championship. Class of 1987, retired coach Orville Huffman, Bedford High School. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anybody that I missed, and I apologize? Please stand. Who do we have?
Dan Miller.
Dan Miller.
Highland High School.
What year?
Highland.
12.
Highland High School, give him 2012. At this time, thank you everyone, all these Hall of Famers. Thank you for coming to this wonderful night. At this time, I'd like to introduce Terry Gobert. Please come to the stand. Okay.
Thank you, Phil,
for the wonderful introduction. I've never done this sober before. And I quit drinking. What was it, about 2:30 this morning? And no, I'm a little nervous because these guys are Indiana baseball. I'm going to do a spotlight just briefly on two great men that we lost this past year. You can read their bios. Jim Reinbold, page 13, thank you. Jim Reinbold, South Bend Clay. Great teacher of fundamentals, intense coach, and a gentleman. That's not why we're talking about him tonight. Ken Schreiber, 110 and 217. He once said, and think about this, I could go 0 and 30 the next 30 years and still be a 500 coach. But he wasn't that way. He touched, both these men touched anyone who's involved in Indiana baseball. He forever changed Indiana baseball and put us at in the national spotlight. One time I was going to ask just briefly everyone to stand up that's been touched by these two men, and I got thinking about it. You all have, even if you haven't been. This association was started by these men and a handful of others that we've mentioned before. Without them, we don't have all-state players. We don't have the North-South All-Star Series. We don't have the great facilities Indiana baseball has, and you guys that have traveled over the years and played at other schools, you realize there's a lot of pride in Indiana baseball. We don't have the state tournament we have today. We don't have the national recognition. We don't have some of these kids drafted that have been drafted, and we don't have tonight's banquet. They were both men of discipline, which is something we need in today's game, in today's world. My head down, if it's all right, we'll do about 10 seconds, just a brief moment of silence, and then Ray Howard, the Hall of Fame director, will follow me to the podium. So let's take about 10, and then I'd like to give just a big round of applause that they can hear now, if you would. So let's take about 10 seconds or so just to think of these men and their families. Thank you very much.
Accountability, responsibility, loyalty, compassion. All these were benchmarks of a program Murph, they called him, coached for 28 years. These four things also make him doubt he would have been able to last in today's coaching world. Married to Nancy for 45 years with 2 sons, Mike and Tim. Valparaiso and St. Joseph College educated. His benchmarks helped Murph to 483 wins, 13 sectional and 2 Duneland Conference titles. He's a 3-time District Coach of the Year and a 2010 inductee into the Valparaiso High School Hall of Fame. And now he is the IHSBCA 185th inductee into the Indiana Baseball Hall of Fame. Please welcome Pat Murphy.
Well, the good news today at lunch, provided by the association, was that we had a nice meal. The bad news is I found out I was the leadoff hitter for this presentation. So bear with me as I go through. We are limited supposedly to the amount of time we can talk. And Ray has a stun gun next to me. So I'll be as brief as I can and say the things I need to say. Thanks to the Coaches Association for choosing me for this honor as an inductee into the High School Baseball Hall of Fame. Thanks also to Ray Howard, Brian Abbott, and Jeff McKean for all of their hard work in putting this together. And many times people do this and they do a tremendous job and they don't get recognition or a thank you, and they're all very deserving of this. I would also like to congratulate my fellow inductees going into the Hall of Fame. It is a very humbling experience, and I am very proud to be one of them. In my world, family is first, and I have been very blessed. Nancy, my wife of 45 years, would you please stand for just a second? Has been with me every step of the way, including many surgeries, and that happens when you retire, I found out. So keep working. And has always pulled me through. She has also given us 2 wonderful sons. Michael, our oldest, is a pilot and a lieutenant colonel in the Marine Corps, and is close to having 20 years in, and has his own squadron. Tim, our youngest son, is a college professor in Massachusetts teaching urban studies. So we feel very blessed to have those 2 boys. My siblings, as I said, family is very important to me. My siblings, my older brother Terry decided to go to heaven in June. My sister Judy, who I love dearly, is a sister of the Holy Cross. She's a nun in South Bend. And she praised me out of trouble all the time. I have also been fortunate in receiving letters and notes from former players, which is very, very meaningful to me. And you coaches out here tonight, what you do is extremely important, and you may not know that now, who you're helping or who you're touching, but it's amazing how much they actually listen when maybe we don't think they are. Over the years, I have worked with and against many great coaches and have established everlasting friendships. In doing an interview today with Sweet Lou, I was telling him that in our area of the state, Northwest Indiana, where we play baseball in the snow, that we have 6 or 7 Hall of Fame members that I am very, very happy to join. More so than when I had to coach against them, because I might coach against 3 Hall of Fame members in 1 week. And you know the names already, so I don't have to mention them. I am very grateful and honored with a number of Valpo people who traveled here tonight to be part of the celebration. And I've got a couple of tables over here of Valpo people, and it's not a great ride to get down here, and they took the time. and they are here, and I'm very appreciative of that. I'm talking specifically about Todd Evans, who used to play for me, who's now the head coach at Valparaiso, and also nominated me to this opportunity, and I thank him dearly for that. Chad Evans, Greg Sims, Chance Garbison, Mark Hoffman, who you might know as being a wide receiver in football, Dale Gott, who's been a friend of mine for over 70 years, Todd Coffin, Dave Coyle, Steve Krutz, Rich Spicer, Jeff Wood, Dave Watson, and a gentleman we mentioned a while ago, Danny Miller, who's a former Hall of Fame member, and Bob Shankin. And I told Bob today when I saw him, I think I put some of you guys in the Hall of Fame by losing all the time. All in all, it's been very, very pleasurable, and I'm very, very happy about it. Lastly, as being an old dog, sometimes young coaches will ask me questions, and I try to be as helpful as I can. Advice to young coaches who don't want to deal with pressure. You have two options. You can coach at an orphanage so you don't have to deal with parents. Or if you want to go higher up the ladder, you can coach at a prison so you don't have to deal with alumni. Thank you very, very much. The pleasure is all mine, and have a great evening.
The next inductee, as noted in your program, is Colin Lister. Colin has passed and he came from Australia to Fort Wayne for involvement with hockey. Never played baseball, but became all in with the game when he was asked one time to umpire in a game. And from that time on, Colin spent 45 years involved with amateur baseball that included the Connie Mack League as well as the old Stan Musial League, where teams that he had and coached won 85% of their games. But more important than winning, and more known as an ambassador to the sport and as a mentor for the young people who played for him. His life was one of teaching by example, as is noted by Scripture on his plaque, which says for Matthew 5:16, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." Accepting on behalf of Colin Lister, the 186th inductee to the Indiana Baseball Hall of Fame, is Brad Heppel.
As you can imagine, I certainly wish Colin could be here. Special night for him. And I just really am grateful for the opportunity to be here tonight and express my appreciation and thanks, especially to the Hall of Fame staff for the induction and recognition of an incredible and remarkable person, Colin. I especially don't want to forget Brett Windmiller. I see Brett here, and he was very special in his diligence pursuing the opportunity for Colin, and I'm grateful for that work that you've done. And also, there's some other folks here that have been very important in Colin's life: Stan Leland, Dave Goodmiller, Troy Ebbs, Tyler Kidd, and a number of you, we could go on, that you had a special, special place in Colin's life. And you know it, and you know what you did. We're very grateful. As been mentioned before, Colin was an ambassador. He was a great speaker. He loved to tell stories. I'm not a storyteller, so I'm going to try and do my best to give you a short window into his life and what led us to where we are today. As was mentioned earlier, Colin was born in Perth, Australia, lived there for the first 25 years of his life. He won a national square dance competition and decided he was going to take those proceeds and take a trip around the world. But unfortunately or fortunately, the funds ran out and he landed in London, England. He didn't know what to do, so he had to get a job at the Bank of England. He wanted to try and get to America, and so he saw a transfer available to the Bank of Canada. Went there, and again, as mentioned earlier, he saw a bunch of people playing this game he'd never seen before. Walked up to these folks, and this one guy came up to him and said, "Look, if you don't umpire this game, these kids are going home." He'd never even seen this game before. He thought, "What am I going to do?" So he volunteered to do this, and all of a sudden, at the end of this game, hey guys, you did a great job. You get to come back tomorrow. And he said, "Oh my goodness." So he ran and he got a rules book, and he studied all night long, and he felt like he was going to be a little bit more prepared. And the next day he said, "Brad, it was a disaster." And all of a sudden he got thinking, what am I going to do with this game? But he fell in love with it. And at the end of that time, he had an opportunity to come to Fort Wayne, Indiana. He had a good friend of his that was awarded the general manager's job at Fort Wayne Comets. Some of you might be familiar with professional hockey in Northeast Indiana. And his good friend asked him to come down and be the business manager and also to become part owner. Colin jumped at the opportunity and came down to Fort Wayne, Indiana. And as he was spending his winters playing involved in hockey, once springtime came, he was ready for baseball. And all of a sudden, he became involved in the Connie Mack League, and as mentioned earlier again, he was involved in the Stem Musical League. Spent 45 years of his life determined to make an influence in the lives of young people. So much so that the good folks in Fort Wayne actually named the Connie Mack League now the Colin Lister League, very appropriately. But the thing about Colin, he loved great players. He was a passionate winner. He was a sincere competitor, but he was a giver. And we got a very deserving recipient later on. I got a chance to meet with Troy earlier today. And I got to tell you, he would have loved to have you on his team. And he would have passionately went after you. But one thing about Colin, he would have remembered your birthday, he'd have been at your graduation, he'd have been at your wedding, and he would have remembered you for the rest of your life. When Colin would go on vacation, he would give me a stack of letters, and he'd have the date marked on when these letters were to go into the mail. He had these dates set for these birthdays, for anniversaries, for special times in young people's lives. And he said, no, it's mailed this day, and this day, and this day, and this day. And he did that until the end. He was a faithful guy. But his dedication was so real that my wife and I were talking about this. He was best man in 15 weddings and groomsmen in 50. And yet Colin never had any adult children, never had any children of his own. Hopefully that can give you an indication of his dedication in the lives of young people. And then for me, I wasn't a great athlete, and I wasn't the LaTroy Hawkins that he may have gone after. And I was from a dysfunctional home, and he reached out to me, and he made the difference in my life. Showed me how to tie a tie and shine my shoes, shake somebody's hand with a smile, and countless other necessities. In fact, I got my tie tack on today. He gave me 42 years ago, and I still wear it today. as a reminder. But I don't want to forget one other special person in Colin's life, and that was Marcia Cuff, who's here tonight to share in this celebration. She was very, very influential in Colin's life and sacrificed and cared for him until his passing on December 31st, 2010. But most importantly, I really want to say that verse again. If you miss anything about what I've said, that's okay, but don't miss what Colin would have said tonight as he closed. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. That is what Colin was all about. As a tremendous baseball guy, his real desire was to serve his Savior, Jesus Christ. And for that, I am deeply honored to accept this wonderful recognition for a life well lived. Thank you very much.
2018 season marks Howard Kellman's 43rd season as the voice of the Indianapolis Indians, the AAA affiliate of the Pittsburgh Pirates. This past 2017 season, he broadcasted his 6,000th game for the Indians. He has also called IHSAA football and basketball games on TV 40 since 1990. He's been on broadcast teams for 3 AAA All-Star games. And he's led the ESPN broadcast team in covering the AAA World Series 2006, 7, and 8. Has been honored as Indiana's Sportscaster of the Year in 2002 and 2009, and was also inducted into the Indiana Sportscasters and Sports Writers Hall of Fame in 2009. He's been in behind the mic subbing for folks in the White Sox, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the New York Mets. He's an author as well, publishing in 2010 his book, 61 Humorous and Inspiring Lessons I Learned from Baseball. He may have also learned a lesson or two from his wife of 42 years, Robin. May I introduce to you the 187th inductee into the Indiana Baseball Hall of Fame, Mr. Howard Kellman.
Ray, thank you so much. This is an absolutely wonderful honor, a special moment, and there are a number of people whom I'd like to thank, and I'll get to that in a moment. When I first started broadcasting the Indians games in the mid-70s, we would shoot off fireworks whenever an Indianapolis Indian player hit a home run. And by the way, Bill Effect, the first time he owned the White Sox, started doing that. Anyway, a number of major league teams still do that. And among those teams, the Cincinnati Reds. Now, this took place several years ago in Cincinnati, and I say to you, and people like LaTroy Hawkins and Dyer Miller have been in this situation, picture yourself as the visiting pitcher. You feel bad enough, you've given up a home run, and now you have to listen to fireworks. Well, Mark Portugal's pitching for Houston, gives up a home run, boom, 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 the fireworks are going off, and Portugal's getting upset. The next Cincinnati batter hits a home run again. And there go the fireworks again, boom, boom, and it's noise and all that. Now Portugal has given up 2 straight homers. He's had to listen to the fireworks twice. The next batter comes up. a third straight home run. Now Mark Portugal, the Astros pitcher, is so upset he can't even see straight. Meanwhile, Bob Cluck, the Houston Astros pitching coach, also is upset. He has seen his pitcher give up 3 straight homers. So Cluck is angry. Portugal is angry. And Cluck walks out to the mound to talk to Portugal. And Portugal says, "What are you doing here?" And Cluck said, "Hey, I have to give the guy a chance to reload the fireworks." But you know what? With that, they both broke up laughing, and Portugal settled down and pitched much better. One other quick one, and all you coaches should remember that it's all about having fun. The great Pittsburgh Pirates Hall of Famer Willie Stargell said, "The umpires don't say work ball, they say play ball. So have fun." And baseball, to all of us, is about childhood memories. And for me, growing up in the 1960s, years later, when I broadcast the Indianapolis Indians games, when I would meet a player from that era, I'd always ask questions and have a lot of fun. Players like Clete Boyer and Jim Fregosi, Al Kaline, Mickey Mantle. And the interesting thing is, when you mention an event to them, they can tell you the footnote. Bill Freya was a catcher with the Detroit Tigers for 16 years, an all-star, a terrific player. And I met him 10 years ago. He was helping out the Tiger minor leaguers in Toledo. And I said, "Bill, I got to ask you if you remember this game. It's June of 1967, second game of the doubleheader. The Tigers are at Yankee Stadium. And this is before the designated hitter. That got instituted in 1973. Hank Gary was batting for the Tigers. And he was as bad a hitting pitcher as there ever was. He was so bad that when he would hit a foul ball in Detroit, he'd get applause. I mean, he was that bad. Anyway, the Yankees are sleeping in the field. The bases are loaded. Fritz Peterson's pitching. And Gary hits a ball into the gap for a triple in right center, knocks in 3 runs. The Yankee center fielder, Joe Pepitone, was like, "What happened?" So anyway, I asked Bill, I said, "Bill, do you remember that?" He started laughing. He said, "Not only do I remember it, but when Gary got to third base, with everybody in the ballpark in a state of disbelief, Gary said to the third base coach, Tony Cuccinello, 'What's the steal sign?'" Cuccinello said, "It took you 15 years to get to third base. Stay here for 15 seconds. So many people to thank. I'm grateful to be inducted to the Coaches Association. As Ray said, 42 years of broadcasting the Indians. The last 13 have been the most fun because of the support of my wonderful wife and the love from Robin. So thanks for all you've done. Greatly appreciate that. And how do you stay on a job for 42 years? You have to have great employers. And it starts with Max Schumacher, who was nice enough to hire me. We all need a break. Everybody needs a break. Not only is Max a great executive and gave me my break, but he's also a great employer. I don't think he ever raised his voice to me in 42 years. Just a wonderful man. I said to Max, about 2 months into my first season, "What can I do to get better? How can I improve?" He said, "Well, you're saying," and this is radio, so we're painting the word pictures, "there's ground ball in the hole, and sometimes the third baseman cuts it off. So why don't you say ground ball wide of third, and then if he doesn't cut it off, then it's in the hole." I said, "Great comment." To this day, and it's more than 40 years later, whenever I see a ground ball wide of third, I think of Max helping me in that particular situation. So thanks to Max, I've enjoyed working for and with Cal Burleson over the years. Cal is very dedicated to the Indians. I said to Cal several years ago, what can I do to improve? He said, well, you're doing a really good job, but here's something you do that maybe you could do a little more often. I said, what's that? He said, how about setting the defensive alignment? And I thought, great comment. What does it take? 1 second to say the infielders straight up, outfielders around to the left? So I do that very frequently now, and that helps paint the word picture. And again, thanks to Cal for that. Bruce Schumacher and Randy Lewandowski, new top executives. Bruce, chairman and CEO, and Randy, president and general manager. And Max told me how proud he is of both of them and the great job that they're doing, the way they're working well together. And you know, Bruce and I go back a long time, and Bruce has always given me nice tidbits and interesting things to say, and I really appreciate that. I said to Randy a couple of years ago, anything you think I can do to improve? And he said, well, it's May, and while we are fighting the Columbus Clippers for first place, it's still early. So I wouldn't focus quite as much on the divisional race right now as you are. And if later in the season, then you can do that. Another terrific comment. So these guys have been great employers, and also I've learned a great deal from them. Joel Zawacki not here tonight. Really enjoy working for and with Joel. And Matt Gay and Mark Schumacher, both of whom are here. And they're been with the Indians forever. And the thing that we have in common, Max, Cal, Bruce, Randy, myself, Mark, Matt, we all have worked for the Indianapolis Indians for virtually our entire adult life. And it's been really absolutely wonderful. We have some people here tonight from the Sheriff's Association. Steve Luce, Executive Director, Lauren Brunet. Now, Steve Luce is a great guy, a Sagamore of the Wabash by Governor Daniels. Not only is he a great guy, but he's a really good person to know as the Executive Director of the Sheriff's Association. Because ever since I've met Steve, whenever I get a traffic ticket, I pay it. And great people, John Crosby, Tim Sproles, American Legion, they change lives, they do wonderful work with veterans. You know, over the years we've gone to the veterans hospitals and with the Indianapolis Indian staff. And this one time, I said to myself, I have to try to inspire this man. And I said, sir, you've got to get better. And he said, I've heard your broadcast, you've got to get better too. Any more jokes like that, but we'll send this on. You can hold your applause till next Tuesday. A special thanks as well go out all the wonderful players we've had over the years. Players like Andrew McCutcheon, Neil Walker, the friendship with his father, Tom. I can go on and on. Donnie Warner, Larry Rothschild, Ronnie Oster. We had something really special these past few years watching Gift and Gope play defense. I mean, he was a terrific shortstop. He's now been traded, and he became the first South African ever to make it to the major leagues. In fact, the first player ever from the continent of Africa to get to the big leagues as he did last year. So, a lot of managers. I've worked with 24 different managers, great people. So many of them I stayed in touch with over the years. A lot of fun. We have a new manager this year, Brian Esposito. And so many wonderful coaches. I'm really going to miss Butch Weiniger. He'll be coaching in the Florida State League for Bradenton this coming year. And you know, it's wonderful to meet all these people, and you not only meet them, but you work with them. As Earl Weaver once said, this isn't football, we do this every day around here. You know, so you're with the people day in and day out. All the terrific broadcast partners. I've had over the years. I mean, absolutely wonderful guys. Now, my current partner, Andrew Campus, would have been here tonight, but he wasn't invited. That's a joke. Boy, I might get some new material. No, I did invite him. He's a really terrific guy, and he is broadcasting a basketball game tonight, so he could not make it. A lot of thanks as well. I grew up as a Yankee fan, and George Steinbrenner did me a nice favor during my college days. He was kind enough to let me use the vacant broadcast booths to practice my play-by-play. Always appreciated that, appreciate the friendship and the support of Randy Levine. Those people have been really good to me over the years. Well, we'll be playing again on April 6th, opening day at Victory Field. And I say to you, when you're at the ballpark, please stop by the broadcast booth and say hello. What you do is, there is an elevator next to the reception desk. Tell the person at the reception desk you're a friend of mine, and you'll spend the night in the city-county lobby. Well, a few hours anyway. No, but seriously, tell them you're a friend of mine, and they will give you a pass, and please visit. I look forward to you guys visiting me, and I'm serious, you're not bothering me in the slightest. And you come up there, and I will show you how not to broadcast a game. These shows usually go over pretty well, and I throw them out. And please, that last one was a joke. You must remember that. So in any event, I thank all of you for being here. Thanks for presenting me with this honor. While I'm devoted to my wife, Robin, my sister Elaine and her family, and my parents. My parents used to come out here for a homestand every year, and they loved it. One other person I want to thank, and that's Chuck Ross, who was our ticket manager in 1977. Chuck and I reconnected recently, and in the late 70s and early 80s, he would sit in the broadcast booth and critique the broadcast, and he gave me a lot of good comments, one of which I still remember. He said, hey, in the 8th inning, when somebody comes up, instead of saying he bounced to third in the first, single to center in the 4th, grounded to short in the 6th, why don't you just say he's 1 for 3, a 4th inning single? I thought, great comment, and to this day I always incorporated that. And I thank Chuck for all the time he spent with me in the broadcast booth, listening and critiquing, most appreciative. So, anyway, as I was saying, I'm devoted to Robin, to my friends, to my family, but broadcasting baseball is a little more than what I do. It plays a very important role in who I am. Thanks to all of you very much.
High school as a student athlete to Cathedral as a coach, posting over 500 wins in 20 seasons. Included in those were 13 Indianapolis city titles, 13 IHSA sectional titles, 11 regional championships, 6 trips to the semi-state, and 2 times in 2001 and 2007 an IHSAA state title. His wife Janet and 3 children certainly share in those successes. A 2-time South All-Star coach, an organizer of many youth camps and clinics. Irish successes has led to numerous Coach of the Year honors. Still active, named the coach at Guerin Catholic High School last year in 2017, the 188th inductee into the Indiana Baseball Hall of Fame, Mr. Rich Andrioli.
Howard, that's a tough act to follow. And I really thought there was a time at the very beginning of your remarks that I thought we should all just go get a couple beers and could listen to you all night. So that was great. Coach, you guys don't wear glasses, reading glasses. Coach Abbott called me in mid-November, and I happened to miss the call. And I really had no idea what he could possibly call me for. But I assumed that it had something to do probably with some new legislation that would have Catholic schools play with only 7 players and only 2 outs. Coach, one thing that I'll never forget is a conversation that we had when we were up in Whiting, Indiana for the North-South Series. And Coach and I left the banquet together. He drove me back to the dorm. We had a terrific conversation, and I want you to know that those words continue to resonate with me. When Brian told me that I'd been selected as part of the 2018 Hall of Fame class, it did catch me off guard. I have the highest regard for not only everyone already inducted into the Hall, but also for everyone that's part of this great game. To all the coaches that are here, you're the absolute best. There's nothing like a group of coaches getting together and sharing strategies and stories. And the truth be told, the strategies aren't that great, but the stories are unforgettable. I respect you all for the tough work, the dedication, your talent and commitment, all of that you all possess. It's been at this very clinic that I've met and spent time with some of my coaches' closest coaching friends. I remember a clinic probably some 20 years ago with Coach Wirtz and Coach Vittorio and a few others. Be a hard one to forget. I've had many tremendous memories that were created with some of you both on and off the field. It's an absolute honor, coaches, to be affiliated with all of you. I'd also like to acknowledge other people part of the game. Members of the media, Steve and Pete, are over here to my right. And I want to thank them for their thoughtful coverage of high school baseball in Indiana. Thanks to the umpires as well. And by the way, if you're an umpire in the audience from Jasper, not that Terry needed it, but we appreciate always having to get 4 outs in the 7th. Speaking of Jasper, outside of my wife and maybe my mom, no one in this room has a better image of my eyes than Coach Ray Howard. Coach and I exchanged about 10 or 11 emails, and he kept coming back to me saying that the artist or the sculptor, whoever, didn't have a good read on my eyes. So it got really weird at the end because I just kept cropping pictures of my eyes and sending them.
And I want to thank the Indiana High School Baseball Coaches Association, Hall of Fame Committee, and the members who voted. I want to also congratulate the other inductees of 2018. Congratulations. I'm proud to be standing here on behalf of 20 years of players and coaches and parents who contributed to the building of our program during that time. I want to thank Julian Peebles, who hired me and who told me that at the time we should have a top 20 program in baseball, and to thank my old coach and first AD, Jim Williams, for believing in me at the age of 26. I don't think there were a lot of candidates for the job. The three of us had a shared vision of what the program could become, and I thank those two men for their support and their drive to make the vision a reality. Coach Perrin is here. Coach was my coach in high school. I appreciate seeing you. And I said this earlier with Sweet Lou. I'd be really remiss if I didn't say to Coach Wirtz, and I'm not, honestly, I didn't know who nominated me, but I would have said this anyway, and I texted him this a couple weeks ago. Coach Wirtz is the ultimate competitor, and he had the standard. He set the bar, in my opinion, back in the mid-90s when I first started for what it took to be really successful in high school baseball in Indianapolis. And I really tried, Coach, to emulate what you did at Ron Colley with our program, and I thank you for leading the way and for setting that example. And the one lesson, and I said this to Sweet Lou earlier, the one lesson that I learned from Coach early, I didn't always practice it really well, but Coach Wirtz on the field and between the lines, he'd rip your heart out if he could, but then that was it. And you shook hands and you moved on. And I remember in the late 90s, he and I drove down to Jasper together. We had to go all the way to Jasper, Coach Gobert, to play in the semi-state. And Coach, just want to say thanks. Thank you, Coach Wirtz. I want to thank my in-laws there in the back, Colleen and Doug also. Janet and I appreciate your support and help that you give and continue to give to us. Thank you. I'd like to recognize and thank my parents who are right here to my left. My brother, Mike, his wife, Kim, nephews, Robert and Thomas are here as well. I realize how fortunate I've been to have strong family support and that network. Not everyone has that. And so thank you for all of your support in the many countless ways and for being willing to offer an ear to listen. Am I okay on time? Our kids grew up in Hare Field. And for anybody that's played at Hare Field, we had home field advantage. Our daughter Allison was famous when she was younger for consistently trying to opt out of any and all baseball games. And despite her crushes on the players, she said, "I can't do another baseball game, Dad." Of course, Nick and Jake couldn't get enough of it. They were raised at Hare Field. They watched every move of the players, played catch with the guys, shag balls during BP, hung out in the locker room, they probably shouldn't have, and spent significant time in the dugouts at Victory Field. Tremendous amount of times that we were able to play there. And by the way, thank you to the Indianapolis Indians for all of your strong support of Indiana high school baseball. Nick and Jake, coaching you guys on the same team 2 years ago. One of the best experiences of my life. My wife, Coach Murphy said earlier in the interview, he's like, no coach succeeds without his wife being with the thick and the thin and whatever the absolute worst is all the time. And Janet put up with it. tremendous sacrifices that were made on her behalf for me and continue to make. Any married coach in the room can relate to what I'm saying. She's been the ultimate coach's wife. I don't know if that's a good thing. Supported my coaching career in the time that I felt like it took to be successful at that. No words, honey, cannot adequately express. Thank you. I love you. Man, our program, we didn't have a ton of funding. I don't think we had any. Funding and our money for maintenance and improvements and redoing mounds and things came from fundraising, and that usually meant hitting parents up again. And I want to say thank you to the parents and grandparents of the players in our program. Thank you for allowing us to coach your sons. Thank you for supporting your sons when things didn't always go the way that they wanted or maybe you wanted. Thanks for helping us to build the program. And most of all, I'm really grateful for your friendship. It means the absolute world to me. I'm thankful that baseball has brought us together. I'd like to thank the guys with whom I coached and their spouses, girlfriends, and significant others, their children, their families. Our coaches were talented, they were dedicated, they were intelligent, selfless. I'd like to think they got it. We were aligned in our thoughts and our philosophies. I think over time our staff was really consistent, had great continuity. They connected. I was also blessed to coach for many years with guys that have played in our program, and there's amazing pride that comes with that, as you can imagine. I'll never forget the many funny stories that we all shared, like King of the Hill. Shirt sleeves while jogging in Jasper. Where's that fungo from the Cathedral and Drain game? And many other late nights at Hare Field laughing when we probably should have been somewhere else. Man, we laughed a lot. I love you guys. Congrats to you on this recognition. We did this together. Could I get you guys to stand up? Any coach, any guy. Yeah. I'm thankful that baseball brought us together. Tonight's really about our players. Wow, I'm overwhelmed. I had no idea that you all would be here. What do I say about you guys? You made it all happen. Yeah, our players were talented. They bought in. They were relentless. You guys were patient, motivated, focused, coachable, committed, and fiercely competitive. You guys played with passion and energy. Obviously, we had ultra-talented players, some of whom currently play professionally. We also had guys who played their last game at Hare Field. Regardless of talent levels, I do believe that one trait exists in all of you, and that is you brought it. You brought a workmanlike attitude and approach and mentality each day to the field. I believe that our players played as much for the guys who came before them as they did for themselves. Players in prior years were always around, they were always visible. Past players showed up at workouts over the holidays, they came to practice, they'd show up at games when they were in town. One game that really stands out to me was a regional game in 2006. We were playing at Center Grove, might have been 2005, playing at Center Grove versus Center Grove. It was 2005. And I was standing in the third base coach's box. Is Coach Gandalf here? Sorry, Coach. I was standing in the third base coach's box, and I look to first base. We don't have the runners on, of course. And I look to first base, and we have guys that had played in our program like 2 deep along the fence. Kevin, remember? And it just hit me that night. What a special group that we had. Special night. I want to thank our players. You worked, you were committed, you achieved, you believed in the program, and more importantly, you believed and trusted in each other. On and off the field, I watched you celebrate. I also watched you cry. I watched you grow through adversity. And I watched you take pride in the way you endured and persevered when you reached your goals. I'm incredibly proud of all of you and what you've become in life. Your husbands, your fathers, your leaders in your communities. And that's really what's absolutely the most important. I value the relationships that I have with all of you at the highest level, and I hope you know that. I'm thankful that baseball brought us together. In closing, get ready, Troy. Like many of you in this room, baseball's been a part of my life that's longer than anything else has. The game's taught us all many lessons, way too many to list. But while the game was great to play, it's great to coach, the most important part of this game, for me at least, is the friendships and relationships that exist as a result of being a part of it. I know I'm blessed for that, and I'm blessed that baseball's brought us all together. Thanks.
Before we get started, let me tell you, he's going to do one thing the first week of October that I would dearly love. This man gets to go elk hunting.
I wasn't successful the first time.
That's all right. That's why you're going back. That's a good plan. Two-sport athlete, basketball and baseball at Gary Westside. 7th round draft pick, 1991 by the Minnesota Twins. Talent was recognized pretty quick. In 1993 and 94, he was the Twins Minor League Player of the Year. Made his Major League debut at 22 in 1995. Played 21 seasons, I think with 11 different teams, making the playoffs half a dozen times, reaching the World Series with the Rockies in 2007. His 1,042 appearances ranks 10th on the MLB's list all-time game appearances. He has a save against every team, all 30, and is only one of 13 relievers that have that ability to achieve that. 10 different seasons, making 60 appearances. Notable achievement, September 2004, when he struck out the side on 9 pitches. Since 2016, been working special assistant to the baseball operations for the Minnesota Twins. Married to Anita, they have one daughter. And we are happy to welcome the 189th inductee to the Indiana Baseball Hall of Fame, LaTroy Hawkins.
Wow. You guys are gonna have to bear with me. I got off the plane in Chicago and I left my voice in Texas. All right. This is indeed a special day, and I'm extremely grateful to be here. First off, I'd like to thank the Indiana High School Baseball Coaches Association for this honor, and I'm very humbled by it. I'm going to spend a little time tonight thanking the people who played a role in my career. I believe wholeheartedly I was blessed by a lot of people whose paths crossed mine before and during my time as a youth and a professional baseball player. My grandma Lee, who is no longer with us, told me at a very young age that I was a natural born leader. She also saw I had this gift that whatever I picked up a ball and threw it, I could hit it. She taught me to always treat everyone with respect and thank you for your love, honesty, strength, and your ability to see the good in everyone, Grandma. She told my mother, we have to get Troy out of the projects or he's going to be the leader of the game. So we moved soon after that. This group had an enormous impact on my life very early on, and they continue to pour into me to this day. Tony Howard and his wife, Darlene Howard, aka Short Stack. Mr. James Dye, and Izzy and Kathy Rivas. And Izzy and Kathy was my host family when I was 12 years old, and they're from Greenwood, Indiana. We came down here to play in the state championship for our Little League, and Mr. Rivas was the president of the league, and we had to have a host family. And I stayed with Mr. and Mrs. Rivas at their house, me and a couple of my teammates. And they had the biggest house I'd ever stayed in, I had ever seen up until that point. So when I got back to Gary, after the tournament was over, I said to myself, to have a house that big, you gotta work hard and be very successful, and I plan on doing both. To my basketball coaches at Gary Westside, Coach Ike Brown, may he rest in peace, Coach Kenny Monroe and Coach Joe McClain. These three men helped groom me into a responsible young adult, and they always held me accountable. My sophomore year in basketball, we went into the locker room up by 16 points. We were feeling pretty good about ourselves, about the first half. But Coach Monroe gets to laying into me about not being the leader that I am, not pushing my teammates, not making them play the way we practice. And he told me, LaTroy, come here. And Coach Monroe, who's here tonight, I got paddles until I was a senior in high school. We got swats. And they didn't make it who you were. If you messed up, you got a swat, plain and simple. So I was 12 guys on the team, he picked me. Come here. Bend over. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're about 16 points. 16 points at halftime. I walk out of the locker room, and my grandfather was there, and he can see that something was wrong with me. And he asked me, he said, hey, homeboy, what's wrong with you? I said, well, Coach Monroe just paddled me, and we're beating these guys by 16 points. He said we should be up by 20. Instead of my grandfather saying, you know what? You know, he shouldn't have paddled you. You know, you guys are playing well. He said, looks like you got a lot of work to do. So not only was I getting double teamed the whole first half on the court, my coach and my grandfather double teamed me as well. My 92-year-old grandfather is here, Eddie Williams, sitting over here. When I got drafted by the Twins, I had one of the realest conversations I've ever had. He told me, and I was a big basketball player, and he told me I was a better baseball player than basketball player, and the rest is history. Thank you. To the Twins organization, the first team that drafted me, thank you for taking a chance on a skinny athletic kid from the region, Northwest Indiana, and give me a chance to live out my dream. Thank you, Terry Ryan, Mike Ratcliffe, Larry Corrigan, and the scout that signed me, Dan Kirst. To my 1,000+ teammates, my managers, pitching coaches, trainers, clubhouse guys, and the media, we had a long, good run, and it was a lot of fun. To my brothers, E3, Ronald, Opus, E4, and Tion. My aunties, uncles, and cousins, thanks for allowing me to be a big uncle, a big brother, a big cousin, and nephew. There are a lot of things in this world I would rather do than let either of you down. Believe me, I took all those titles very serious. To my brothers from another mother, they were always a phone call away. My good friends Lamont Ballard, Anthony Gates, Gerard Stevenson, Ben Jones, who's a scout, he's here with his family tonight, scout for the Reds, Torrey Hunter, Eddie Guardado, Jack Jones, and Matt Lawton, my brothers from another mother. And a very special thank you to the LaTroy Hawkins fan club. I had a fan club in Minnesota that was over 1,000 members, and they followed me to every spring training I went to for 15 straight years. And the coolest thing and the funniest thing about that, they were all diehard Twins fans, and I made them buy 10 different hats. To my agent, Larry Reynolds, who's here tonight, Patrick Murphy and Mike Dillon, we had one hell of a run, guys. Thank you for always being there for me, not just during contract times, but all the time. You guys were truly the best in the business. And to play 21 years in the major leagues, you have to be very blessed with a strong woman. Anita Eloise, I appreciate the job you did and making all the sacrifices for our family. And my baby girl, Troy, Leslie, Darlene. Without your love, I can honestly say I wouldn't have made it. Y'all always supported every decision that was made to play in 11 different cities. Thank you, and I love you both very dearly for all your sacrifices. My daughter spent her first 14 years of her life traveling the country watching me play baseball. And when the kids are little, you know, the kids really don't like to watch the games. They don't want to be in the stands with all the fans. They want to be in the kids' room, playing with the other kids, you know, doing everything but watch their parents, their dad play baseball. Well, this little girl, she never went in the family room. She was locked in, watching every pitch. So for that, and she always said this saying, Padre, you got your gas. I finally ran out of gas, Troy. I'd like to honor my mom, Deborah, who's here, my grandparents, Eddie and Celestine Williams. Thank you for all the sacrifices that were made to keep me on the straight path. Y'all did one heck of a job. I hope I made y'all proud. A special thanks to Brian Jennings for nominating me. I'm Brian Jennings, coach at Griffith High School up in the region. I never met Brian before until last night. We talked to each other on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We finally exchanged numbers, and we've had a relationship for the last maybe 2 or 3 years. Thank you once again, Brian. I was in Vegas when he called and told me that I made it to the Hall of Fame. I was kind of blown away because, you know, it was such an honor. But once again, thank you, Brian. Last but not least, the fans. Thank you for your good and the booze. A wise man told me a long time ago that you have to be good if somebody wanted to boo you. But tonight is all cheers. Thank you.
Troy doesn't know this, but one of the guys he mentioned, Ben Jones, went to some extravagant lengths to give him an honor. So I'll let Ben tell you about it for a little bit here, so you can present to Troy.
Wow. Where are you? Try not to get too emotional here. But first, I have to, where's Anita? First, I have to say to you, job well done. Job well done. For me to understand as a wife, but more so as what you do on a day-to-day basis when you met this man. Transformation of helping him deal with humility. To be as successful as he is an honor to you. Second of all, his daughter. Wow, probably better than he himself. So I thank both of you for what you do for me and my family, but more so the outreach to everybody. The beautifulness of your souls is impeccable. Last but not least, before I met you 25 years ago, you've been by my side through thick and thin. And I'm not telling the story, that's why you're laughing. But I have to say, thank you. Thank you. Because you have been there for me more than what you can ever imagine. Now, as your wife always says,
find one reason to smile. In behalf of, don't look at it. In behalf of me being a former twin and a current Cincinnati Reds supervisor, I hope I can send you home with a reason to smile. From what I have and what I'm presenting to you is, these are your draft, as an amateur, these are your draft reports from the scout that signed you, Dan Durst, and the GM, Terry Ryan.
My actual work is $100,000, and I got $27,000.
All right, now I'd like to reintroduce our Assistant Executive Director, Bill McIntyre.
Thank you, Jeff. You all turn to the inside cover of your program. We have a tradition here since 2004 from one of our founding fathers, Bill Jones. We got these closing remarks by Jeanette Dunn, granddaughter of the inductee, Lou Krieger. And we always do this at the end to finish the banquet. And it's a quote of a source known, "Baseball heroes. Some people think that baseball is just a game. They are wrong. Baseball is about reaching deep inside yourself to catch the ball that can't be caught and hit the pitch that can't be hit. It's about the soul. Baseball is about bad hops, bad breaks, bad throws, and bad calls. It's about striking out and making errors. It's about overcoming all those things. Baseball is about kids who become stars, stars who become heroes, and heroes who become legends." Thank you.